Okay, rates are a kind of ratio, and they kind of show us how much one thing changes in comparison to another. So if you look on question number 1, it says that it takes 4 eggs to make 2 batches of muffins. So the ratio, or our rate, is 4 eggs for every 2 batches. And the question was, how many eggs are needed per batch of muffins? How many eggs are needed per batch of muffins? Now, this per batch, I'm going to circle it. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Now, we have to set up another ratio. What's our unknown in this next ratio? If we have eggs and batches again, what's our unknown? What do we not know? What are we asking for? The eggs. This is, we don't know the eggs. I'm going to put an X right there. That's my unknown. I don't know how many. It's asking how many eggs are needed. Now see how I have per batch? I circled that because if it just says per batch, that means 1 batch. So 1 batch. I'm even going to erase that ES because we're only going to need 1 batch. Now, I've seen problems like this before. Who can tell me how to solve these? If I have 2 ratios set up next to each other and they're equal. Cross multiply. 4 times 1 is 4. 2 times x equals 2x. And 4 equals 2x. What do I need to do with this one? What do I need to do with this one, Denise? You know, well, how do we find x? We've been doing this since probably September. Divide. What are we going to divide by?
2.
Yeah, we have to divide by, we have to do the inverse operation of whatever's happening to this unknown. Bam. So, 2 divided by 2 is just 1, so that's just x. And what's 4 divided by 2, guys? Tell me on 3. 1, 2, 3. 2. That's right. So we know that, we can bring it up here, that this is 2 eggs for every 1 batch. That's my rate. My rate is for every 1 batch of muffins, I need 2 eggs. Okay? So this is one of the problems. You even have the answer right now. Okay, now this next one's a little tougher. It says Jenny drives 265 miles in 5 hours. What is her average speed of miles per hour? So what is her average speed in miles per hour? I'm going to circle that per hour part, okay? So I'm going to set up a ratio first. 265 miles, 5 hours. Now I have to set up another ratio on this side. Miles and hours. Okay? What's my unknown on this ratio? What am I trying to find out? I don't know. The miles. I don't know how many miles I have. Now, it says miles per hour. So what does that mean? How many hours is that going to be? McKenna? One. Yeah, that per hour just means one. Okay. So, what do I do now? Who knows? Who knows? Noreen. Cross multiply. 265 times 1 is just, move this down a little bit. It's just 265. 5 times x equals 5x. Now, can you tell me what to do now, Denise? What do I do? Divide by what? Yes, by 5. I have to do the inverse operation of whatever's going on to the unknown, our variable. Okay? Since we're multiplying by the variable times 5, the inverse operation is dividing. Okay? So, cross that out. That's x. I'm going to come over here and divide, even though some of you might know it in your head. I'm just going to do it right now. Boom. 5 goes into doesn't go into 2, but it goes into 26 5 times. That's 25. That's 1. Bring down the 5. 5 goes into 3 times. That's 15 and 0. Kind of runs off the end. So you see that x equals 53. So we are going 53 miles in every 1 hour. Okay? If you're driving on the freeway, that's pretty slow. If you're driving just on normal streets, that's fast. Okay? All right, I want to do one more before I let you guys loose. The next one. This is a job, and this job pays $56 for 8 hours of work. So in 8 hours, you get $56. Most people work about 8 hours a day, or you're contracted for 8 hours a day. That's kind of like, seems like a kind of typical work day, okay? For 8 hours of 8 hours. That's not right. 8 hours of work. That was not what I needed to do there. Okay. Then it says, how much money does the job pay per hour? So how much money does it pay per hour? Now I'm going to set up my ratio. What's my ratio going to say?
Your ratio is going to say 56 over 8.
So I'm going to write down the dollars and the hours just because it makes it easier when I set up my other ratio. So my other ratio I know is going to be dollars to hours. What's my unknown? What's my unknown? Yeah, I don't know how much money yet. But since it says per hour, I know that's going to be 1 hour. Okay? So, what do I do now, Ben?
Cross multiply.
I cross multiply. 56 times 1 is 56. 8 times x equals 8x. What now? Divide by 8. I have to do since I'm multiplying my variable times 8, I have to do the inverse operation and divide by 8. And you guys probably know in your head that 56 divided by 8 is 7. Okay? So this job pays $7 per every hour, 1 hour. Okay? So remember, rates are just ratios. It tells us for every 1 hour of work, our amount of money we get is going to grow by $7. So think of your bank account. Every time that clock goes an hour, cha-ching, $7 more bucks in your bank account. Okay? So that's what a rate does. For every time we move 1 hour, our bank account grows by $7. Now the way to solve these rate problems is to set up our two equal ratios. We call these proportions. Okay, a set of equal ratios is called a proportion. Okay? And then we cross multiply and divide. All right.